This preview is brought to you by Grubhub. Hey guys, Terry here for Rev3 Games, and I am so thrilled to be able to tell you guys today about the next installment in the Borderlands franchise, Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Yes, that is actually the name of this game. The reason it's called that is because this takes place between Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2. So Handsome Jack's origin story is kind of what we're going to be exploring here, and really you're going to be able to see a whole other side of him that you didn't see in the previous Borderlands games.
Get in there, switch it off, because things are getting really interesting up here, kiddo.
I think the most interesting, or at least the most obvious fact about this game is that it takes place almost entirely on the moon. And that paves way for a whole bevy of interesting low-gravity environments. So you're going to be able to do things that you couldn't do in any previous Borderlands game, like things like long jumps, you can double jump, you're going to have jetpacks, so there's a lot of verticality to the environments here. So everything has this kind of Empire Strikes Back feel to it. That's really neat. I'm going to talk about that more in a second, but like every other Borderlands game, this has 4 playable characters, which we were briefly introduced to. Most of them are characters from previous games. The first one is Wilhelm the Enforcer. He is kind of the first big boss you encounter in Borderlands 2, but in the pre-sequel, he is not yet in his robot form. He's still mostly human. The second character is Nisha the Lawbringer. This is Handsome Jack's girlfriend. She also played the sheriff in Borderlands 2. Another character, Claptrap. You get to play as Claptrap the Frag Trap, which is kind of a militarized version of Claptrap, and this is actually supposed to be one of the more advanced characters in this game. They didn't give us too much info on that. I get the feeling that they're going to have a bigger reveal of that later on down the pipeline for this, so I'm sure that'll be exciting. But for the purposes of this preview, we played about 20 minutes of the game co-op with Athena the Amazon, who is the Crimson Lance assassin. She was an NPC in the General Knox DLC, and she's kind of the tank character. So we got a little feel for her skill tree. Her special ability is something called Kinetic Aspis, which has, I guess, some Titanfall inspiration to it. It's basically a shield you throw out that absorbs any frontal bullets that come at you, and then you can shoot them back at enemies. And a lot of her skill tree, obviously we weren't able to see the whole thing, but a lot of her other skills sort of tie into that. So she has a skill called Wrath of the Goddess, where the Aspis ricochets off multiple enemies, so you can kill a bunch of guys at once. It's really awesome. We saw it in action. And then she also has skills like Prepare for Glory, which diverts attention onto her from the other players, which sort of ties into her whole tank role in the characters. So there are some new things, aside from the environments and characters. There's a new elemental effect called Cryo Effect, which is basically ice bullets that you can shoot at enemies to slow them, and then eventually they will freeze. This is really cool. There's a new weapon type. There are lasers, which they sort of compared to the proton gun in Ghostbusters. It's a laser gun. What else are you going to do there? And then they have some new moves. They have a ground pound specifically, where when you are jumping mid-air, you can tap the crouch button, and you'll basically just like do a big pound on the ground. This is really cool when it's used in combination with some of the other new things like the cryo effect. So you can freeze an enemy and then jump on him and ground pound him, and he will basically shatter into ice. And it's really cool with the ice stuff and just low gravity in general, because when you kill a guy, they'll just fly off into space. Like shards of ice will just fly every which way. It's really awesome to see. And then another thing they have, which also ties into the low gravity environments, are Oz kits. And basically oxygen is going to be a new element in the game. Since you are on the moon, you're going to have to constantly monitor your oxygen levels. Of course, there are inside areas on the moon where you won't need to do that, but you'll have to sort of find a balance between being able to breathe oxygen and powering your jetpacks, because the Oz kits are also what's going to power your jetpacks. And you can pick up Oz kits. There are ones that will have various elemental or explosive effects, which is also a really cool thing to see with the low gravity environments, because again, you see things shooting every which way. I was a little afraid that because we were on the moon, the landscapes and environments weren't going to be all that different from each other. But like I said, there is a moon base. There are apparently varied landscapes. We only got, a 20-minute chunk of the game, so we didn't get to see that many environments, but they say that they exist, so I guess time will tell with that. Apart from that, my only real apprehension about the game so far, based on what we've seen, I know that Anthony Birch is co-writing it. He's not writing it completely like he did with the second Borderlands game. So while I do think it will have that Borderlands style of humor, I am a little worried maybe it will have less of that specific Anthony Birch style of weird, self-aware humor that was so present in the second Borderlands game. But otherwise, I am super excited for this. You guys know I am a huge Borderlands fan, so I could not be happier about this news. And to make it even better, this has a pretty tight timeline. They are expecting this to launch in fall of 2014, and it will be for current gen only, so 360, PS3, and PC. They also mentioned that they're going to have a booth presence at PAX East this weekend. So if you guys are going to be at PAX East this weekend, they are going to be showing you the same thing that we saw, which was really exciting. So yeah, stay tuned for more Borderlands news. Boy, all this video game talk is making me hungry, and since there's no food anywhere in our office, I'm going to hit up Grubhub. Grubhub is the fastest, easiest way to get food from your favorite local takeout restaurants delivered right to your doorstep. Best of all, you don't even have to speak with a human. It is dining for the 21st century. To place an order online, just search for the restaurant you want, add the items to your cart, and check out. It's totally free, and if you have any questions at all, their 24/7 customer service team is there to help. Grubhub is now available in over 600 cities, and as someone who has been using their service for several years now, I find them especially valuable in places like San Francisco, where there are tons of great restaurants and not that many ways to actually get to them. If you want to see what all the Grubhub is about, then head over to grubhub.com/ref3. New customers who sign up with that URL can use the code VIDEO to get $5 off their first order of $10 or more. But hurry, because this offer expires soon. Happy ordering.